Well, 3,000 listings and 3,000 feedback on eBay. So we're going to talk about that today and talk a little bit about eBay. Here we are basically in the second month, in the fourth quarter, basically going to be in the third month next week with December coming up in the fourth quarter. And how are your sales doing on eBay and how are your listings doing? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Patdees. I am the traveling picker. So thanks for stopping. Okay, we're back. I do appreciate you guys if you made it this far and sat through the trailer. You could do me a huge favor if you're new to the channel. Just subscribe. It's free. And we're going to talk about eBay. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I have sold lately. And I don't really make usually a traditional sold video, but people who watch other resellers will, Pat, what are you selling? What are you listing? And stuff like that. So I think it's only fair to share some of those things. So a little bit of backstory. I was at, if you look, there was a video where I just crossed 2,000 listings back in July. So basically August, September, October, November. So it took me on average 4 months to get ahead at 3,000 listings. So right now my feedback is 3,002. Now what's that mean? That means a lot of people don't even leave feedback because honestly, I'm going to quick look at it on my cell phone here because that's one thing you can quick look at. Yeah, 100. I got 173 followers, 99 point positive feedback, and it says 3,400 items sold. So I've been on since 1998, part-time. I'm more full-time the last 3.5 years, but during COVID, really, I was so busy with Amazon that eBay fell really to the wayside. 98% of my sales, online sales, were through Amazon and merchant fulfilled, and the rest was through eBay. So I didn't really sell a lot of eBay, and that sort of kind of, that was a little bit of a mistake because it also maybe eBay didn't think I was serious enough that wanting to sell on there, and I had sold a couple things, one or two items that I couldn't find, which then took my things down. So it took time to really build it up and get that trust again, even with eBay to have the ability to list more. So yeah, 3,400 items sold. I mean, even if everybody leave, my feedback would be 3,400, but that don't even include the things that you buy over the years. And I'm not even sure, I think that's probably data for all time, but I'm not sure how the feedback works. If the feedback is for, I know because I've seen numbers already that is that feedback for the last 10 years, 15, I'm not quite sure. So if anybody knows about that, I think it's funny because sometimes I'll watch some videos and you'll see him, hey, check out my eBay store. And there was a guy I found the other day. Wow, I couldn't believe it. He had something like 200,000 items sold. Now I dug into some of his items and some of them were $5, $8. And and there's criticism in the community that, oh well, it's not what you list or the quantity, it's the quality. But at the end of the day, even with me, I went to Florida 6 weeks ago and wanting to still list, and I'll explain that thinking also, wanting to list every day, that I basically scanned some postcards in before I left, and something like 300 or 400, and I had some drafts, so every day I got home at our house that we were renting back from the park, I listed 20 to 40 items a day, even some stuff that I bought down there. So it wasn't just postcards. I actually came home with 2 bags of stuff that I had traveled through South Carolina and stopped at a Goodwill. I listed that stuff while I was down there. So either way, even with my store on vacation, when I was on vacation, I still did approximately $900 in sales while I was gone for 11 days. So that was still okay. It took a little bit while to get the momentum back and stuff like that. And but my average sale, and this is what and I can't screen share on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this camera where I can basically record from the PC screen over my so that I can share some of this stuff with you. So let me come back to that camera and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I changed the camera so basically I can share my eBay screen with you guys. And to some, honestly, to some bigger resellers, people that don't even do YouTube, my sales probably are going to be laughable. But for me, I feel like I'm not going to get discouraged by that or that negative attitude. I'm encouraged because as I'm doing things in a different direction and listing more, I'm doing better on eBay. And I'm glad I'm doing this because I'm not doing it as well on Amazon. So let's active listings. You can see I got 3,047 active listings. And as you can see here showing the chart data, prior to me leaving for Florida, I had listed every day and I had sales every day. When I did put my store in vacation mode, and it doesn't reflect it here because actually when I was down in Florida, it was approximately about the 5th to around the 15th. So that data is not even in here across the last 31 days. But as you can see, I think it's one, two, I think there's only, or maybe there's only one. So there's only one day I didn't have a sale. I'm recording this earlier in the day. So as you can see today, I've only sold one item for $7. And the last week I did $450. Last 30 days, $2,000. And that's actually a little bit low because I was averaging for August, September, I was averaging over 3,000. And in the last 90 days, I'm almost at $8,000. So let me show you guys a couple things that I sold, and I'll talk about, And if you guys want to follow me, that's one thing is, and that's I am not big enough on YouTube, even with my 4,200 and some subscribers. I don't think I've ever had a viewer buy something from me yet on YouTube. I know there are other YouTubers out there that are fortunate enough to get people that are following them on YouTube, and they're actually going in their stores. So today, and I want to make sure that let me take this off screen a second. I want to make sure that I'm not showing anybody's name. So hold on a second. Let me click this on, and I'll bring the screen back. I want to make sure. Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, it doesn't show their address. So I just sold like this postcard, $7. And I titled it Vintage Postcard 1908, Humor, 3 guys, big noses, 1-cent stamp. So, even though postcards are not big ticket items, they're still the return is great because if you're buying in bulk, you're not paying a whole lot of money for them. And so these are the couple orders I had today. I have some skates that I sold, CDs and games, toys, records, DVDs, T-shirts. Even like this, I was surprised. I sold this within a half an hour of listing this. This is a PlayStation PSP from 2001, and the battery that goes back here was cracked. So I didn't want to force it in, but I looked it up online, and even at honestly parts, and it did work. It was still basically a $25-$30 item. So I put it on for $22.22. It was funny because I was up early one day at about 5:30, and I listed it, and it sold within a half an hour. So somebody maybe would just put I looked at buying the battery, but I didn't want it myself. And I looked at buying a battery, and it was like $13-$15, and they would then go for $75. Now some people could say, Pat, why didn't you just buy the battery and you basically for $15 I would have been able to sell what I had into it and made gotten probably 80. So here's an interesting item I had bought actually from T Auctions for You online, and I just sold this for $90. This was a Bret Hart deluxe class action figure. Already left me good feedback, and so that person actually has feedback of 2,400. So they're not new to eBay also. So the page is a little slow loading. So you can see I sell a bunch of people say, Pat, what do you sell? Well, let's real quick. Postcards, toys, ice skates, CDs, games, clothing, records, DVD, shirts, toys, magazines, games, shoes, belt buckles, NASCAR, pajamas, more postcards, action figures, postcards, brand new Mormite shirt, calculator, brand new Target underwear, pennants, used boots, toys, magazines, sneakers, Funko Pops, Nike's shirt, magazine, T-shirt, knives, and the funny thing is, all this stuff I could pretty much tell you exactly where I got it from, and I'm doing much better. If you could see, I have a custom SKU there. So let me pull up, and this is where we're at as far as my store. If you want to support me or through eBay, and this is my store. Patdees, from baseball cards to bulldozers. We've sold many items over the last 20. I got to update that because it's been about 23 years now since we made this. So I did sell a bulldozer once about 8 years ago on a flatbed, and so this is my store. I'm hoping that we start really picking up soon. It's kind of hit or miss right now, so things definitely have not been like they should be. But that doesn't discourage me from keep on listing and keep on, doing what I got to do. Okay, I switched the camera around again. I want to make sure I wasn't showing no customers' names or addresses, and just really wanted to talk about. And the reason I stopped, like, it's less editing that I have to do than to cut that clip out if I make a mistake or forget about it. But yeah, and I want to issue basically maybe a misconception that sometimes, even though selling $5, $8 items, my average sale price this year is $32.33, which is actually up 40% over last year. My sales are up 300% over last year on eBay, and obviously my net sales are up, so that's good. And as I'm getting to list more and being more in, let's say, compliance with eBay, making those couple extra percentage points is the big difference. Because honestly, when you're making 4 or 5% more, that means for every $10,000, that means you're making $400 to $500 more. One big thing too, in digging behind the numbers here on eBay, my repeat buyers is actually up somewhat. So it's only 12, but that means people are coming back, and probably people that honestly buy the collectible type things, the cards, the boxes, or the magazines, and those are the people that are I think that are coming back. It's amazing though, man, when you think about all the postage and handling that we and one thing that's different, even doing eBay, I think about years ago when there was no sales tax collected. So I wonder how that also made a difference of some people's attitude. As far as I know, I hear some people say, "Oh, I sold more stuff on eBay than I did, 20 years ago." But I think honestly, eBay overall is selling more stuff than they did 20 years ago. But there's also more people in the mix of being resellers and stuff like that. So the pie gets smaller and smaller as more and more people sell online. And if people aren't basically expanding or coming up with new niches or willing to go outside of what they normally sell. So, if in other words, if you sold, for example, let's say just pants, you were a pants seller, and you did 10,000, and now the hot thing is, cell phones and collectibles and things like that. You basically, maybe not as many pants sell, for example, but I'm the type of person, if I feel like I can make a profit and ship it safely, that's the thing. I'm not a big fan of selling glass. I've double boxed it, and that helps and stuff like too. But even those collectibles, they're bigger risk because they're bigger, they're more expensive items. I'm sure there's plenty of times you can buy a $20 piece of glass and it might be worth 200. I don't know enough about that, and as I do this more and educate myself even more, sometimes if it's a bulk deal and it's included with other things, yeah, I'll do it. But not a big fan of selling a lot of glass or breakable items. I actually don't mind selling clothes if it doesn't require, like pants and t-shirts don't require a whole lot of, you lay it down, take a picture. They pretty much armpit to armpit want the measurement and stuff like that. And the problem with clothes, there's always an overabundance of it. So it can't be like a Walmart brand or a cheap brand. It has to be something that's unique, that even stands out. That you can sell. Okay, and so another thing I want to touch on, I sometimes I get rambling on here and I forget that we're recording, and I'll jump from sometimes you gotta take a breath, but so I think that's why people get stuck. Basically, I said to myself, when I hit 3,000 listings, and I really wanted to hit 3,000 feedback and sort of time this, that I hit the 3,000 listings about 10 days ago, and I hit the 3,000 feedback about 2 days ago. So what's that mean? Well, it's just a number. And what really changed for me was, honestly, and I still got to give credit, I didn't realize the importance of listing every day until I listened to a video. I had Mel back from burnout, and I'm going to put down in the description the link of that video. Back in July, she did a video with Tech and Sports, who is in the top 5, and he may be the top 1, but I don't want to misquote, of used men's clothing. And he's based in Florida, and he has a shop too, from what I understand. But he does a lot with Chris, Daily Refinement, through their Patreon. You never see him on camera. It's always the podcast, Daily Refinement. And I sat there and listened to that video, and I probably watched about, because again, he wasn't on camera and Mel wasn't either, but I listened for about 40 minutes, and I actually had to go. I had to come back another day because I felt like if I walked away for 10 minutes, I was going to really miss something that was important. He was pretty much clear and cut that this is a business, and basically about not making excuses of listing every day. And it was really came across as a no nonsense guy, and really was just focused on building the business and listing every day, and growing the business and making money. And it reminded me of myself when I was back in the restaurant business, that every day that I had a place to go to, and I had overhead to pay, employees to pay, that mindset that I had back then, I never really incorporated it into the eBay or the online business. And some of that actually came from being a little bit spoiled by Amazon, because with Amazon and back in 2020, and it was so busy, as quick as you could list things sometimes for about 3 months, it sold. There were times that stuff sold within a half an hour. And eBay, in a sense, you could be a little lazy. You don't have to take pictures if you're not adding a new product, so you could list it and put it on there. And a lot of things on Amazon you could sell multiple quantities of. So if you found, for example, and I remember back then when the shutdown first happened, I only had sold about maybe 5 or 6 things that were probably 50% of my sales. Now, eventually I went on to sell probably about 15 steady things, but I was able to sell about 5 items with the same UPC barcode that represented about $30,000 in sales in about 2 months that year. You don't. A lot of times with eBay, it's one-offs. I mean, you can sell. You could buy something, sell quantity 10 of, but chances are, if you're doing quantity 10, somebody else can do quantity 10 of. Or the price is so low, because I see that happening right now with fourth quarter with toys, for example. If I'm buying 100 of toys, there might have been 4,000 of that toys that sold, even though I'm buying things by the pallet right now. If there's 20 pallets of it and you multiply, there's 50 of that's a lot of toys. So I'm only supplying, in a sense, maybe it just in my area, maybe 3 or 4% of that inventory. And if you're not getting the turnover, or if people are lowering the price, you're not making the margins that you could, on eBay and stuff. So going back to what I was saying, and sometimes I get a little sidetracked, I apologize. Tech and sports, and it's the most watched video that she has on that channel. I think last I looked, it was over 125,000, but it just made so much sense. And it was around July the 4th, because I remember that was the day that I started listing every day. I just took that attitude: list every day, sell every day. And did it happen right away? No. I listed every day, and now I don't make excuses. Even if I have to create 200 listings and I can't fully activate 30 or 40 of them, because I have to kind of fine tune them and put them in the drafts, at least they're there. And at times I could be somewhere else and even go into my phone and update the shipping, update the cost, what I want to do, and boom, make them active. And it's worked. It took, and I'll give you an idea. In 2020, we did about $238,000 with about 8,000 being YouTube auctions, 230, and man, like I said, about 230, about 224 was Amazon, with only about $6,000 in eBay that year. So when you kind of do the math, I mean, that was only about $500 a month in eBay. Last year, I was averaging, before I got serious, I guess, in this listing every day, I was averaging probably $700 to $900 a month. Okay, yeah, there might have been a month I'd done $1,100, $1,200, and then the following month go back down to $650. But since I started that, and another thing that happened was the timing was, Chaz and Trista did a group hangout in August, private group hangout. What's their channel? Let me pull it up. Sometimes I don't want to say the wrong channel, and and then guys, if you made it this long, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, and oh, that's weird. It used to be in Chaz and Trista. Hustle. They changed the eBay screen, so okay, hold on. Here's the list. I have to go through the people that I'm subscribed to and see exactly which. Sometimes when you're following so many people, damn it, and I can't and I can't think of it right now. What the heck? Alright, let me take a break here and go and look, and so you're not watching me for 5 minutes while I look for it. Give me a second. Okay, I found it like 20 seconds after I stopped the camera there, because basically I just typed in Chaz and Trista, and actually Chaz is the first person 3 years ago that he came for he does like the Spartan competitions. He's really in good shape, and he came to Pennsylvania and did something, and I drove to Harrisburg, which was basically 3 hours away, and met him, and we chatted and had dinner, and I even think that he paid for the dinner, which there was about 20 of us, so that was very nice of him to do that. So his channel is called Side Hustle Network, and that's where it was, not like with me, where my name is part of the title, Patdees. It's easier for people to remember me, but and I don't know. I just Side Hustle Network wasn't clicking because he doesn't really do it as a side hustle. It's a full-time gig for them. They were like in the Oregon, Washington area up that way, and they moved to Texas, and they still have a warehouse back then. And just recently, I watched where they traveled somewhere, and they have listed and sold or processed over 1 million items. So, but they had just to basically come and hang out in August and list 3 a day, and if you skipped 2 days, you basically were booted from the group. There was no pressure, and we hung out a little bit. They would do a once a week video, and where people could ask questions, and then the private group would just, and there was a Excel spreadsheet that we would put what our sales were, and and honestly, even for me, I felt a little bit out of place because there's people in there that don't do YouTube, and there was one guy in there, like, he did $27,000 in a month, and he was selling a lot of toys. We didn't get into what he was selling or stuff like that. But it was a good timing because it was another motivational type thing that right after watching July 4th and starting to list every day and starting to, I started seeing results in about 3 weeks. So, my sales went from doing 600 to 1,100 a month to averaging around 2,700. Now, the last month, as you could see by the numbers, I only did, it says 2,200, and I had one time back in July. I had one big item that I sold that was something I had from the past. It was an oven, actually. It was a commercial oven. So I'm not even factoring that in because that was a $2,000 sale. So not factoring that in. Just talking about these $32 average items. So I'm constantly growing. So basically, if you do the math, I am listing about 500 net new items a month. And typically, because I sell toys and books that are related a lot to this fourth quarter, I have the tendency to do pretty well between the middle of November and the middle of December. Am I doing at the level that I did last year or the year before? Absolutely not. And this is, it's actually sort of given me more of the motivation to get on the ball and be listing and doing what I need to do. I've been missing out at the opportunity of eBay, really. Sometimes you listen to people, and YouTube can be good and bad. You can, the good for me is you can network with other people and learn and get motivated, and the bad could be sometimes you can get unmotivated by you'll see videos, I'm quitting eBay, or eBay people are scams, or I'm giving up, I'm not doing this. I guess those are, if you want to take it serious and be a reseller, now there's other platforms that you could sell on, Poshmark, Mercari. Now there's people selling on Whatnot. I sell a little bit on Whatnot, but if you want to focus on you got to find channels that are going to basically and people that are going to basically be positive, and that's the stories I want to hear. I know a lot of times people will say, "Oh, look at them bragging! They're posting their sales up on Instagram." It's always been a motivational tool for me to sometimes see a young couple, especially. I don't even care if I see an old guy that does. I mean, there's a guy I follow that retired, and he out of his garage he does $250,000 a year. That's encouraging too. But to see a young couple doing $500,000, or even seeing people doing clothes at what they're doing, because you gotta you gotta do your own thing. You gotta weed out the people that are negative, and And then sometimes take a breather. Don't go and run out and necessarily buy, oh, because Pat says, don't, or so and so says, tech and sports, you got to do your homework. You now doing this full time 3.5 years, and really over even the last year and a half, more so, and the last couple months more so on eBay. I feel like I'm probably the best. I'm a better eBayer. Is that a word? Right now than I like. There are just some things, well, I wish I would have passed on that, or there's just some things that, those are worth listing right now, but there's some things like right now that are worth listing that aren't worth right now. There's some things I have that aren't worth listing right now. So if I could sell a $25 toy right now that people want, I have records over there, for example. Maybe they're only $3, $5 records, but do I want to sell them? Yeah. But they're not worth listing right now because those are slow items. But the days that I'm looking for things to list and fill in that gap and up my listings, when you're given the opportunity to sell X amount of things, and I think you can't take this attitude that, oh, I'm not going to list it because it's junk. It's not. If it's sitting there, if it's not listed, it's not you bought it. And some people are like, well, I'll spend $1,000, I'll give up and I'll just throw it away. I don't understand that mindset. Also, that's not me. I don't have that attitude. That anything that I feel like I could sell and list, why not? So, all right, guys, I can ramble on for hours and hours talking about this. I do appreciate your support. If you guys could give me thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. 4,000 listings is the next number, those whole numbers. It is almost the first week of December. Today, I'm going to release this video today. And 4,000 listings with because you got to keep in mind, even if I list 500 in the following, which I'm averaging about 500 a month, I'll probably sell 500 over the next month. So that's always, yeah, I listed 500, that's pretty much what I list. I listed 500 last month, but I probably sold 185 items, for example. So, but that's okay. That's what you want. You don't want to constantly be behind. You don't want to list 500 and you only sell 100, because then the math is not working. Do I want to stay ahead of it? Because there's going to come a time, I know that I'll still be listing every day, but I want that month where I list 400, but all of a sudden sell out 700, and that's going to be, oh man, I'm gonna, and then the next month those are the months that are going to really, so I want to stay ahead of it right now. So build it up so that when I look at my store, that I could say, wow, I'm steady selling a certain amount every day. And I do find, in Tech and Sports talks about this, that he sells something like 250, or he lists 250 items a day. And we're talking about stores that even have 50,000 listings. So don't get discouraged that if you have 300 listings and you only sold 2 items. Actually, percentage-wise, a lot of stores are the same like that. It's very rare do you see somebody have 300 items listed and they sell 50%. There are a couple YouTubers out there that have very loyal followings, very customers that are buyers, fans that are buying from them, and their sell-through rate is like 50%. That is not common, and I don't know what the percentage number is, but it's probably in the low single digits, 2 to 5% really sell-through rate. So, guys, thank you, and we got more videos coming out. I do greatly appreciate it, and tomorrow I am going live, if you made it this far, on my channel with Mr. Buys-A-Lot Brian, and we're going to do an auction. And share this out if you can. Help me out, grow the channel, follow me on eBay. It's small business, and helping each other. And if you got a question, don't be afraid to reach out. Thanks again.